Hello, good morning everyone. So today we are going to continue our discussion related to relational model, and we are going through few of the terminologies. Those are being used with respect to the relational model. I hope you must have understood how ER model is being converted into a relational model or a relational schema. In the last session, we had at length discussion about the rules. Those need to be applied for converting or reducing an ER model into a respective relational schema.
Yes.
No, I have corrected. See, in the last session, we had some typo here. So we considered this teachers relationship one to many, but it is not one to many, it is many to many. Because one section can be taught by more than one instructors, and one instructor yes, one instructor may taught many more than one sections, and one section can be taught by more than one instructors, and that is why this teachers relation in fact is many to many. By mistake we considered it as 1 to n in the last session. In the video that was uploaded, I have corrected this uh, mistake, right? And also in the description I have written that you should consider teachers relation as many to many, not one to many. And if the relationship set is many to many, we should have a separate table for teachers,
Okay, ma'am.
right? So there is a correction, and that correction is being explained in the video that is uploaded on YouTube. So please refer to that. So once again, please remember here, this teachers relationship is many to many and not one to many. And if we are having any relationship that is many to many, we should have a table associated, separate table. And that is why these teachers will have a separate table. And what are the attributes for these teachers? We are having the attributes. Those are the primary keys of the participating entity sets. So who are participating? Instructor is participating and section is participating. And that is why we should have primary key of instructor, that is ID, and we should have primary key of this section. Now section being the weak entity set, right? The primary key of this weak entity set is course ID, section ID, semester year. So we have added here the primary key of the section, that is course ID, section ID, semester and year. And also see how we have drawn these links to the respective tables. So these four attributes are borrowed from section table because section is participating in this relationship. So the arrow from all those attributes or the link will go from teachers to section, right? Because these attributes in teachers are borrowed from section. So we are referring to section for these attributes. Similarly, ID in teachers is borrowed from instructor table, and that is why we are having the arrow from teachers to instructor. So for the attribute ID in teachers, we are referring to instructor table, where ID is the primary key. Correct? So this is how we need to put these links also, and that is really very important. Links are also very important, and the direction of the link is also very important. Please have a note. Okay? Is there any other doubt?
No, ma'am.
Fine. So now let's proceed with today's contents. So we are talking about relational database. So as we have already mentioned, a relational database consists of a collection of tables, each of which is assigned a unique name. So in relational database, we are having lots of tables related to, if we relate it with ER model, for every entity set and for every relationship set, probably we are having one table in relational database, right? So it is collection of tables and every table is assigned a unique name. A row in a table represents actually the relationship among the set of values. So what we mean by that? If I consider a table, say instructor, right? Then one row in instructor table represents one instructor, right? So what we are saying is this row in a table actually is representing the relationship among a set of values for the attributes. So every column in the table is representing one attribute. So if I am dealing with one row of this instructor table, what I have is for every attribute of this instructor table, I am having some value stored in a row. Some value is being stored for every attribute, and that value is meant for that particular instructor. So if I collect all these values in a row, those are having some relationship between them. Why? Because all these values are meant for one instructor. So obviously all these values are related values. Is that correct? All these values are related. Say for example, what I mean by this, if ID is one of the attributes and name is another attribute, then for this instructor, I am having some value for ID, say 1, some value for name attribute, say X. So if I collect all those values in a row, I can interpret that this particular row is meant for a particular instructor. So there is a relationship among the set of values. So ID1 is meant for instructor X. So there is a relationship between this value 1 and this value X. Getting me? So a row in a table actually represents a relationship among the set of values for the attributes, right? We are having a table is having some name, every column of the table is representing some attribute. So we are assuming that instructor is the table and columns are say ID, name, salary, department name and so on. Correct? So if I look at one row of this table, what this row indicates? This row indicates record of one instructor. So what we are saying is whatever are the values, those are stored in that particular row. These values are meant for the respective attributes. So in every row, I'll be having some value for ID, some value for name, some value for salary, some value for department name, right? So every row is actually the collection of the values associated with the respective attributes. So whenever we are referring to a row in a table, right, this row represents a relationship among the set of attributes, meaning whenever I look at the values in a particular row, then I can interpret that, say, ID1 is meant for instructor X. This instructor is having some salary, say 50,000, and this instructor belongs to, say, department computer science. Right? So whenever I'm referring to a row, all these individual values associated with the respective attributes, right, are providing me some sense, providing me some relationship among them. So these values are interrelated. Value X is related with ID1. Got it?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So every row in the table is really meaningful and providing us some set of values. Those are related, having some relationship. Okay? If I look at this table now, I am having this table viewed as a collection of such relationships between the attributes. So one row is representing the relationship among the set of attribute values. Similarly, other row also is representing some relationship among the set of attribute values, and so on. And I am having many such rows in my table. So in fact, this table can be viewed as a collection of such relationships among the set of values related to the respective attributes. Okay? Now, let us see one example of a relation. Once again, let me tell you that in relational model, this table is also known as a relation. Please have a note. This is a terminology that is being used. A table in the relationship model, a table in the relational model is also referred to as a relation. So don't get confused in the word relationship that we used in ER model and the word relation that we are using in relational model. Right? In ER model, what we say that the relationship is between two entity sets and we model it like using a diamond. So in ER model, we say that this is a relationship set. Right? But in relational model, every table that we have is called as a relation. I'll repeat, in relational model, every table that we have is a relation. Correct? Now, just look at this example. This is one table. Name of this table is department. Right? So this is a table department. So what we have in this table, we are having the columns representing the attributes. So in department table, I am having department name, building and budget. These three are the attributes of my department table. Correct? Now, every attribute is associated with certain domain. So what we mean by domain? Set of permitted values for each attribute. Set of permitted values for each attribute is known as domain. So whatever are the values, those are depicted here for these attributes. Those belong to the respective domains. Say for example, biology is name of the department. So it is a value, right? So this value belongs to the domain of department name, right? So every attribute set of permitted values, and this set of permitted values is known as a domain. Okay, so obviously whatever are the values, those we have assigned to these respective attributes, those are from those respective domains, right? May I proceed? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Look at more concepts. So, table of n attributes is subset of the Cartesian product of the domains d1, d2 up to dn. I'll repeat. A table having n attributes is a subset of the respective n domains, cross product or Cartesian product of respective n domains. So what we mean by this? See, this is a Cartesian product or a cross product. You must be knowing the term Cartesian product, right? So if I am having n number of attributes, as I stated, if I am having n number of attributes associated with every attribute, I am having one domain. So for n number of attributes, I am having n domains. So domains are domains are denoted here as d1, d2 up to dn. And every domain is some set of values. Are you getting me? Yes? Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So what we said, if we are having a table or a relation, table and relation are now two equivalent words, synonyms in relational model, right? So if I am having this table or if I am having this relation R, right? What I have? I am having attributes, right? So if I am having n number of attributes, then associated with those n attributes, I am having the domains d1 for attribute 1, domain d2 for attribute 2, domain d3 for attribute 3, and so on. Right? So every attribute is having associated with a respective domain. If I am having n attributes, I'll be having n sets of values associated with individual attribute. So I'll be having n number of domains. Now, if I want to represent this relation R, how I'm going to represent this relation R? I'm going to represent this relation R as the subset of this Cartesian product d1, d2 up to dn, Cartesian product of all the domains. What I mean by that? Cartesian product, subset of Cartesian product. Meaning Cartesian product means what Cartesian product is giving me? Cartesian product is giving me a huge set having all the combinations of all the values belonging to all those domains. Are you getting me? What we mean by Cartesian product? Cartesian product will give me all possible combinations of values of the respective domains. Right? So, this relation is having some limited number of rows. Right? So, Cartesian product of all these domains is actually a huge set. It is actually a huge set because we are considering all possible combinations of the values of respective domains, right? But whenever I'm talking about a relation, it is having some rows, right? So obviously, whatever is this relation or whatever is this domain, whatever is this table, this relation or this table is considered as the subset of this huge Cartesian product of D1, D2 up to Dn. Got it? Yes? Yes. Are you able to understand me? Let us see one example. Suppose we are talking about the relation that is department. What is the relation? Relation is department. And in our department relation, we are having three attributes. And what are these three attributes? We are having three attributes for our department relation. Department name, building, and budget. Right? Now suppose for department name, these values are permitted: biology, computer science, electrical engineering, and finance. These are the values, right? For the domain department name, these are the values for the domain department name. What are the values in the domain for building? We are having Watson, Taylor, Painter, and Packard. These are the values, right, in this domain of building. And the values in the budget are many, like 10,000, 15,000, and so on. Right? So, the respective domains for these three attributes are mentioned over here. Now, what we are saying is, if we look at the Cartesian product of all these domains, so if we look at the Cartesian product department name, building, and budget, what we will have? We will have a huge set, and that set will include all the combinations of these values. Say for example, I will be having biology with Watson 10,000, biology Taylor 10,000, biology Painter 10,000, biology Packard 10,000. Is that correct? So with this department name value biology, I'll be having the combination of all the attributes. So biology Watson 10,000, biology Taylor 10,000, biology Painter 10,000, biology Packard 10,000. Right? So 4 rows in this set I am having. Similarly, if I consider biology, I am changing building name, right? And also I am changing this budget. Then once again I come up with another set of rows. So similarly, all such combinations I will be having in this Cartesian product, right? But whenever I am saying that I am having a relation R over this Cartesian product, this relation includes few of the rows out of this combination, out of all these cross product or all this Cartesian product. Say for example, if I am having many such rows and if my relation R comprises of, now say here, first row includes biology Watson 90,000. Second row is the row computer science, Taylor and 1 lakh. Third row electrical engineering, Taylor and 85,000. Fourth row is finance, Penta and 50,000. So I am having only 4 rows in my relation. Okay, so this relation is actually a subset. This relation is the subset of the Cartesian product of this domains, department name, building and budget. Are you getting me? So whatever are the permitted values, whatever are the domains, for every row I'll be having some value from that domain. And this is how I'm having some meaningful relation wherein I'm storing the data with respect to the departments. So the first row actually tells me that the department is biology. The department biology is located in building Watson and it is having the budget of 90,000. Second row tells me that the department computer science is located in building Taylor and it is having the budget of 1 lakh. Got it? So in general, what we are saying is a table or a relation of n attributes is a subset of the Cartesian product of the respective domains D1, D2 up to Dn. Thus, a relation is a set of n tuples. Now, here we are introducing one more term, that is tuple. So what is a tuple? Tuple is equivalent to a row in a table. So the horizontal collection of values, a row in a table or a row in a relation, is also known as a tuple. So the relation is a set of n tuples. So every tuple is having n values because I am having n attributes. So every tuple is having n values a1, a2 up to an, where every value ai belongs to the respective domain di. Right? So this biology, that is the value, belongs to the domain department name. Computer science belongs to department name, that is the domain. Okay, this Watson, that is my attribute number 2 or the value for second attribute Watson. So Watson belongs to domain number 2. So what is domain number 2 here? Building. So Watson belongs to this domain building. 90,000 belongs to this domain budget. Right? So every value of a tuple is being picked up from the respective domain. And a relation R is a subset of Cartesian product of respective domains. Got it? Yes? Any doubts so far? Yes, any doubt? May I proceed? May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
So, let's proceed now. As we have already stated this, each attribute of a relation has a unique name. The set of allowed values for each attribute is called as the domain of the attribute. For all relations R, the domains of all attributes of R be atomic. So we are going to focus upon now this new term. What we are saying, domains of all attributes are atomic domains. What we mean by that? A domain is atomic if elements of the domain are considered to be indivisible units. What we mean by that? See, domain consists of some values. So elements of the domain are some values, right? If these values are indivisible units, then we say that the domain is atomic. Say for example, if I am having the domain, say budget. Budget is one of the domains that we have seen. Budget is the domain. So in this domain, what are the values that I may have? I may have the values like 10,000, right? I may have the value 15,000. I may have the value 20,000. I may have the value 22,000, whatever, right? So all such values are being included in this domain budget. Okay. Now, I am saying that this domain of attribute budget is atomic. This domain is atomic. What I mean by that atomic domain? Meaning whatever are the elements in this domain, whatever are the values in this domain, all these values cannot be divided into subparts. These are indivisible units. So 10,000, it is a whole figure. 10,000, it is a whole figure. I am not able to partition this figure 10,000. 10,000 is a number and that is considered as a whole quantity. Okay, so these values or these elements in this domain budget are considered that these are the indivisible units. These cannot be divided into subparts, and that is why we say that this domain is atomic. And it is a good practice that for all relations, the domains of the attributes are atomic. The domains of the attributes are atomic. That means those need not be divided into subparts. Say for example, if I consider multi-valued attribute values, then we may say that multi-valued attribute values are not atomic, or composite attribute values are not atomic. What I mean by that? If I consider a composite attribute, say name, right? Then composite attribute name is having three parts. So if I consider this name, this upper attribute name, which consists of first name, middle initial and last name, then this composite attribute name is not atomic. Why? Because this name consists of three parts. Those can be separated from one another. Right? So if I consider this domain of this composite attribute as a whole, having three subparts, then I'll say that it is non-atomic. But if I consider this individual part, first name, middle initial and last name, then this individual part can be treated as atomic, right? And that is why in our relation, whenever we converted our entity set into a relationship set, or rather entity set into a table in relational model, then we said that the composite attribute is flattened. And why we have done that? We have not stored in a table name as one attribute, but instead whatever are the subparts, we are storing those subparts as individual columns. And the reason is why these three parts are stored individually, because we want the domains of all those attributes atomic. So if I consider name as one column, then I'm not having this domain as atomic. Why? Because it is possible for me to separate out this name into three parts. But if individually, if I store all those subparts as three different attributes, then I'll say that every individual attribute domain is atomic because it cannot be subdivided further. Got the concept? Yes, any doubt? Any doubt? Understood the concept?
No.
Atomic domain?
Yes, ma'am.
And why? So whatever is our act, every act is having some reason behind, right? So why we have converted this composite attribute with flattened by flattening the subparts or flattening the composite attribute. The reason is we wanted to have every attribute domain that is atomic, and that is why we are not having name as only one column. Instead, whatever are the subparts, we have converted every subpart as individual column in our relational model. Please have a note. Okay, so every act that we are performing is having some reason behind. I hope you must have understood the concept. Correct? May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Now, every domain is having one spatial value, and that is null. Every domain is having one spatial value which is member of every domain, and that is the null value. So say for example, if I am having budget as one of the attributes, then I am having some permitted values for budget. Okay, but in addition, always in any domain, I am having in addition a null value, which is part of every domain, which is member of every domain. So whatever are these values, along with all those values, I am having one more value, spatial value, and that is null. Right? So null is part of every domain. Please remember. Correct? But having this null in every domain, if required, we may use that null value. Right? In our tables, in our relations. But whenever we use such null values, these null values may cause some complications in certain operations. We are not actually going into the details. Whenever required and whenever we would like to talk about these null values and how to handle those null values, we are going to focus more upon that concept. But just understand right now, every domain is having one spatial value null. But if frequently we go on using this null value as the value of the attribute, it may create some complications while performing the operations, right? So usually, even though this null value is allowed in every domain, we avoid to use the null values as the values for the attributes. So we try to avoid storing null values in our relations or in our tables. Got it? Yes. May I proceed? May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So let us go through few terminologies and then we'll conclude this session. Right? So, in fact, we have gone through these terminologies. This is just the revision. Database schema. So what is database schema? It is logical design of the database. Database instance. What is database instance? It is snapshot of the data at a given instance of time. Snapshot of the data in the database at a given instance of time. This is known as database instance. Database schema, logical design of the database. Database instance, it is snapshot of the data stored in the database at a given instance of time. Capital A1, capital A2 up to capital A1, capital AN are the attributes. So as attributes are denoted as A1, A2 up to AN. Right? Now, a relation schema, capital R. A relation schema, capital R, is set of attributes A1, A2 up to AN. So these are very important notations. Please remember, whenever we are defining a relation schema, how we are defining a relation schema? Relation schema capital R is set of attributes A1, A2 up to AN. In a database schema, I am having several such relations. Right? In a database, I am having several such relations, having relation schemas defined. Okay? For example, in our university database schema, we are having lots of relations. For example, one of the relation schema in university database is department schema. So, I am describing department schema equal to the list of attributes. What are the attributes in my department schema? Department name, building, budget. So these are the attributes in my department schema. So the schema for every relation is being depicted as the schema equal to list of the attributes in that schema. Okay? Now, small r in parenthesis capital R. Small r in parenthesis capital R. This is a relation on the relation schema capital R. So small r is the relation on the relation schema capital R. And this is denoted as R in parenthesis capital R. So what we mean by that? See, I am describing here department as the relation on department schema. Department is the relation on department schema. What we mean by that? What is department schema? Department schema is the set of attributes. Right? Department schema is only the set of attributes. So department schema is described as the set of department name, building and budget. These three are attributes. But whenever I say that I am having a relation on this relation schema, whenever I say that I am having a relation on this relation schema, what I mean by that? Relation on relation schema actually includes some tuples in the relation. Right? So, department in parenthesis department schema tells me that department is a relation on department schema, right? And we are having a relation instance. Relation instance. We have seen what is database instance. What is database instance? It is snapshot of the data in the entire database at a given instance of time. And the database is having many relations. So snapshot of all those relations collectively is the database instance. But if I say relation instance, it is a snapshot of a particular relation. What we mean by that snapshot of particular relation? Let us assume once again that we are talking about this relation department on department schema. Okay, so I am having this instance of the relation department. What I mean by that? I am having presently at this instance of time, I am having these values stored in my relation department. So I say that at this moment of time, I am having this relation instance, having some values stored. So at this moment, I am having this relation instance. If tomorrow, if I add few more values, few more tuples in my relation department, then I'll be having another instance of my relation department. Okay, so at that instance of time, whatever are the values, whatever are the rows, whatever are the tuples, those I am having in a particular relation, I'll say that that is the instance of that relation. Right? So, this is department, which is a relation. So, an element T of relation R, small r. So, I am saying that this is one element of this relation department. So, this is one element of this relation department. Okay, so an element T of this relation R is a tuple, and tuple is actually represented as a row. Okay, so horizontal row is also called as a tuple in my relational model. Please remember, row is a tuple. So I am having these many tuples. How many tuples I am having in this department instance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 tuples in this instance of my relation department. Okay? Tomorrow I may have 10 tuples in my relation department. So that is a different instance of my relation department. Correct? And obviously these columns of the relation are the attributes. So department is one attribute, building is another attribute, budget is one more attribute of department relation. Okay? And every individual element in the relation, that is a row in the relation, is called as a tuple. Right? So one tuple includes the values for different attributes. So biology is the attribute value for department name, Watson is the value for attribute building, and 90,000 is value for attribute budget. So set of these values is giving me one tuple in my relation. Okay? Any doubt so far? Yes, any doubt? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
our database consists of multiple relations. So many such relations we are having in our database. Usually, information about an enterprise is broken up into the parts, right? So these parts are nothing but the relations, and those relations are storing the information related to one part. One relation is storing the information about one part. For example, department is one relation in our university database. So it is storing the information about departments. Instructor is another relation in our database. It stores the information about instructors in the department, right? Section is one more relation in our relational database. So section stores each individual offering or section of the class. Teachers is one more relation in our relational database. So teachers store the information about who is the instructor and who is teaching which section, right? So every such relation is storing some part of information in my database, right? And this is how we are actually having our entire relational database, right? So I am having, let us see this relational schema for our university database. So these are individual relations, those we are having, okay, and my entire relational database comprises of such individual relations, and every individual relation is storing some part of information that is related with my enterprise. Okay, I hope you must have understood. Got the concepts? Any doubts so far? Got the concept?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what we mean by relational database, what is schema, relational schema, and what is the relation on relational schema. So we have covered lots of terminologies related to relational schema today. We are going to conclude this session now. In the next session, we are going to discuss once again about the keys in the relational database system. So for every relation, we are having the keys. And the types of keys, actually we had a discussion earlier. We are having the super keys, we are having the candidate keys, we are having the primary keys, even we are having the foreign keys, right? So we are going to talk about all those concepts in the next session, right? So I hope you must have understood the terminologies related to relational database model. So let's conclude the session today. Thank you.